Hello everyone, this is Pooka and welcome to another game I played on the Pokemon Trading Card Game Online from Bad Deck Monday. And as you can see in my hand, we're going to have a pretty outrageous deck this time. This is one of the decks, it's kind of fun for me. I really don't think this deck is good at all. But, alright, here we go. Kick of Righteousness, we have a Sock as my opener. And in my hand you will see two Golurk. Now Golurk, it's not a card we see played at all, no matter what Golurk it is. I don't think I've ever actually seen one in a tournament. And this is the brand new one, which has Iron Fist of Justice. So this deck is all about extremely long attack names and defending justice. Alright, that is what Golurk was built to do. Alright, so it looks like we're going up against the Blastoise deck. When I built this deck, I thought about, what would be some of the worst matchups I could possibly face? And the first one I thought of was Blastoise. So, alright, cool, we're facing Blastoise. Not exactly what I wanted, but whatever, that's fine. We're going to start off, my hand was pretty dead, but I did draw that Tropical Beach, which is nice. So I'm going to go ahead and attach to my Golurk and Tropical Beach for an extra 3 cards. And alright, so the goal here is to attack with Golurk and use Silver Bangle and then Iron Fist of Justice for just 2 colorless energy, or a single double colorless energy. It does 60 damage if you have no Team Plasma Pokemon in play. So clearly Golurk hates Plasma Pokemon. That should be pretty obvious. But yeah, it does 60 straight up for 2. And then you add the Silver Bangle, so against EXs you're doing 90 damage. So you do knock out EXs in 2 hits, and it has 130 HP. So it's kind of a beefy attacker. Kind of nice. So really there is not much strategy to this deck besides attack with Golurk. And then you also see a Hippowdon in my hand. Well, that's purpose is just to attack Darkrai. Yeah, that's all it's for. All Hippowdon does is counter Darkrai, which seems kind of silly. But Golurk is weak to Dark. So how do we beat Darkrai? We add in a 3/3 line of a fighting Pokemon. It might be a little bit of overkill, but whatever. I don't care. I want to beat Darkrai with Hippowdon's first attack, Sand Bazooka, and a Silver Bangle. Jeez, that escaped me for a second there. Sand Bazooka and Silver Bangle. Then you get to knock out a Darkrai in 1 hit, and you also get to move an energy to a bench Pokemon. Now, against every other deck, it is terrible. So we are not putting it into play. We did not level ball for Hippopotas. I have no idea how to pronounce that Pokemon's name. Hippopotas, 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 whatever. The little hippo. We did not bother getting that into play. Alright, I did catcher a Squirtle. I was hoping to get back-to-back catchers on Squirtles. Hopefully he wouldn't get a Blastoise. But now here's another Squirtle, so that's kind of a bummer. Now I can't really catcher all the Squirtles before they evolve into Blastoise. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of accept my fate. We're going to put a Silver Bangle onto the Golurk. And then we can use Iron Fist of Justice this turn. Now I also put a Fighting Energy onto Sock, because it does take 1 fighting, 2 colorless to use the low sweep. And there we go, Iron Fist of Justice, and there are no fists involved. How stupid is that? There's even a fist animation, I'm pretty sure, for fighting Pokemon's attacks. So if they, if they just wanted to, they can just throw a fist with those little psychic symbols, and it would make the attack 10 times more epic. But they're slacking. These programmers, they gotta realize this opportunity. Iron Fist of Justice. They could combine, the iron stuff that falls when you use metal Pokemon's attacks. You can get the fist in there from fighting Pokemon's attack. You could make this the coolest attack in the game, because it is the coolest attack in the game. Iron Fist of Justice. How awesome is that? But still just a lame psychic animation. I'm pretty disappointed, to be honest. Alright, anyway, we do have a game going on here. My opponent has struggled to get a Blastoise out, it would appear. But here we do have that Juniper. He's going to catch her up my Mewtwo, which I'm actually not too upset about, if I'm going to be honest. He's catching up the Mewtwo, and there's the Blastoise. Uh-oh, there's a Deluge. Now I'm a little bit upset, but, you know, I would rather him take out the Blastoise than go after the Golurk, because Golurk has my energy. Golurk is my attacker. So that's kind of what I want to keep in play. I don't care about giving the 2 prizes up on Mewtwo. I do have 90 on that Keldeo on the bench already, so I've softened that thing up already. Now, I gotta figure out where I want to go from here. I am going to bench the Hippo. We're gonna put a DC onto my Golett, and then I'm gonna play an N and get 5 cards here. Now, I do have a Pokemon catcher here. I could just hit the active. We can Iron Fist of Justice for 90. But, you know, if you think about it, why would he keep attacking with Black Kyurem EX? That makes no sense. If he's going to Black Ballista and discard 3 every single time he attacks, he's got to knock out 4 more Pokemon. I'm not going to put down another EX. It's just a waste of energy. So I'm actually going to catcher up one of the Keldeos. Now, I'm trying to decide which one I want to catcher up. If I catcher up the one that already has damage, I can take 2 prizes this turn. The problem with that is if the non-damaged Keldeo comes out and then gets 4 energy and uses Secret Sword, it takes down a bunch of attackers in a row. And I may not be able to respond right away with consecutive Golurks, you know? So I'm actually going to go for the other Keldeo, realizing that, alright, first of all, he's probably going to use Secret Sword. There's no reason for him to actually keep using Black Ballista and discarding 3 energy every turn. It doesn't make sense. So that's number 1. Number 2, I want to be able to spread damage out on both Keldeos, and whichever one gets all the energy, I want to be able to knock that thing out immediately. That's what I need to do. Okay. Hope that makes sense. Now, I realize I leave myself very vulnerable to Max Potion in this kind of a situation, but that is a risk I'm willing to take. It's a card that it's probably like 50-50 whether or not Blastoise decks play it. So I'm taking the risk here. Plus, you'd have to draw into it too. So I'm just going to say, you know what? If you have Max Potion, congratulations. I will accept this fact. But it looks like he's still powering up a Black Kyurem, which, again, I have no actual problem with, since he is just going to discard 3 energy. I don't think that's something you really want to do. Excuse me. He's already used 1 superior energy retrieval, maybe 2. I am not quite sure, but whatever. And now, where do I go from here? I have an N, and I have a Skyla, or a Juniper. Alright, he has 6 cards after that big knockout, and I'm pretty sure I need to attack this turn. But even if I Skyla for maybe like a Heavy Ball, get myself a Golurk, what does that do? I do 60 damage. That's pretty darn weak. Alright, and that's really the only thing I would Skyla for. If I N, I could put him down to 3 cards and buy a turn. But then I probably won't draw what I need. So I think Juniper might be the best route here. Even though N would be nice to disrupt him, I do need to attack for myself this turn. But, you know, I am getting 5 cards, so we decided to go with that. And this is why N was probably not the greatest idea in the world. But, whatever. At least I have Tropical Beach in play. And I do have a switch as well, so we can go into my basic Hippo or a Sock to kind of buy some time here. I'm going to sacrifice the little Hippo and then draw 3 with Tropical Beach. And that was really a turn that stung. Now I might be on the losing end of an exchange here. If I could pull off an attack that turn, maybe I could get, 3 consecutive knockouts and then win before my opponent can collect all 3 of his prizes. I'm hoping he doesn't have a superior energy retrieval this turn to attack. Otherwise, I'll be in some trouble. Oh, and there's a Juniper. Never mind. Looks like he had a Lightning that he chose not to attach. That's pretty strange. And then he discards Level Ball with no effect. We have 1 water. Let's see. He can deluge as much as he wants in a turn. We'll see if he gets 3 water to Secret Sword my little Hippo there. I say little Hippo, but that thing has 4 retreat. That is one big Pokemon. Why does that thing have a 4 retreat cost? It can't be that slow. Hey. Oh well. Anyway, now, oh, my opponent forgot to use Tropical Beach as well. That works out pretty well for me. Okay. So this turn has to be something big. I have to be able to do something this turn. Otherwise, my opponent just might overwhelm me with some stuff. I was actually pretty fortunate that nothing happened that turn. I am going to go ahead and evolve into Hippowdon. Might as well do that. And I have an energy to hatch this turn. I might need to get a float stone this turn. That would be my best bet, I think. I was honestly expecting my active to get knocked out. So now it's stuck up there. I need to draw a switch card. Either a switch or a float stone to get him out of the active spot. Once again, it looks like I want to play an N for 5 cards. And once again, I draw junk. So this is still pretty bad. This is really, my deck is really stagnant at this point. I have not done anything for the past few turns. I do have a sock powered up though, so look out. Low sweep. Don't underestimate sock. Alright, so now it looks like my opponent gets a second energy onto the Keldeo, and a third energy onto the Keldeo, and another energy on the other Keldeo, and we're going to rush in. And alright, Secret Sword, Hippowdon's weak to water, and I'm going to get knocked out. Bummer. Alright, but I do draw a Golurk. That is good. I do need to draw Silver Bangle this turn, though. It looks like there are 2 left. And alright, here we go, guys. I am going to get the shiny Golurk this time. So my opponent is used to Iron Fist of Justice, and now we're going to go with Devolution Punch instead. Yes, the secret rare Golurk from Boundaries Crossed. It is getting some playtime here. We're putting him in the game. And I can evolve the other one. The reason I'm doing this, I already have a Psychic and a double colorless on that Golurk. So I'm just going to go ahead and evolve to that one since it is 60 as well. And we need a Silver Bangle, and we got one. Okay. The other Golurk there can attack for just a DC. So that's why I want to evolve that Golurk to that one. Hope that makes sense. Okay. So now we can Devolution Punch for 90 with a Silver Bangle. And that spreading damage strategy I did earlier is going to pay off here. Because I was able to knock out this Keldeo in one hit. Which helped me a lot, you know. I got to take out the Keldeo that had all the energy in one turn. Now my opponent's at 3 cards. He may not have the resources to power up Keldeo this turn. He may have to use Tropical Beach this turn. So that is good for me. And we're going to see a catcher onto my other Golurk. Float Stone onto Squirtle, and then a Tropical Beach for 6. So I actually have a good opportunity here to close this game out. Can Golurk actually do it? Alright, so I got to take a look here, see how many like catchers and stuff I've used. So I'm thinking what I'm going to do here is, first we're going to Ultra Ball, just discard a bunch of stuff. Stuff I don't want in my deck anymore. We're going to get rid of another Hippowdon Online. There's another Golurk in my deck that's pretty much worthless. I can probably Ultra Ball that away too. There's a ton of energy in my deck. So I'm thinking, I don't really know. There's a couple different routes I can go here. I may just knock out the Squirtle this turn. That way, I'll have more. First of all, I have 2 prizes left as opposed to 1, so N won't hurt me as badly. And second of all, I can then just attack with Sock, which does not have the Silver Bangle. And then I can follow up with the Golurk on the following turn, if Sock goes down, and then win the game that way. So there's 2 ways to go about this. I am still vulnerable to Max Potion, but I am willing to take the risk at this point, as I have been all game, to reduce my reduce the effectiveness of N in this kind of a situation. I may not be explaining that too well, but I hope you understand. N could devastate me. I might, you know, just not draw the right resources if my opponent plays an N and puts me at 1 card. Leave myself at 2 cards. Seems much better. and I have that Golurk safe on the bench with the Silver Bangle instead of out in the fray. And also, if I don't knock out the Squirtle this turn, it could evolve, and then it takes away my cheap prize option, which is actually the main reason. I have all these other reasons, but that's the main reason. I don't want Squirtle to evolve. Okay, so Squirtle goes down. We're tied at 2 prizes each. And, uh-oh, we got a catcher onto Golurk. That is no good. And then a superior energy retrieval. Discarding 2 rare candy, getting back 4 water energy, I would think. And now, what do we do now? It depends on what he does. If he just uses Secret Sword and doesn't play an... Well, first of all, if he doesn't play an N, I pretty much should win. And it looks like he's going for that Secret Sword. And this means Sock can come in and get the Silver Bangle and low sweep for the win. Now, Sock is only used for, what is it, Kick of Righteousness, because it can knock out an Absol in 1 hit for 1 energy. And Sock can actually be the hero in this game if we can promote him with the Silver Bangle and low sweep for 90. Oh, an N. Uh-oh. But wait. Will justice prevail? Yes, there's the Secret Sword. And here comes Sock. He's already fully powered up. The other 2 have float stones, so I cannot attach the Silver Bangle to them. And it looks like, just barely, we're going to be able to edge out this game somehow, someway, with Golurk, Hippowdon, Sock. And we are going to low sweep for 90 and the victory. Sock is your unsung hero in this game. And justice certainly has prevailed over the mighty Blastoise. So hope you guys enjoyed. This is a very silly deck that does not have any crazy strategy. It just uses 2 very underused Pokemon and the ever-powerful Silver Bangle to try to compete with top-tier decks. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed. This was one of the stupidest games I've played. But yeah, I am Pooka here from the Top Cut. Some more videos for you soon, and I'll see you guys next time.